welcome to your May 2022 reading download from the ancestors. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much. I want to show my love and appreciation to all of you who've supported my work, for being on my newsletter, purchasing readings, watching these free readings, liking, subscribing, everything. I'm just in such gratitude. I'm so grateful. If you read this month's newsletter, then you will know that there are going to be some shifts and changes. I will still be in communication with you, but perhaps not on a monthly basis, just on a need to share basis. So yeah, let's jump right into it. Let's get a theme card for May 2022. It is eclipse season. This reading will center a little bit around this recent eclipse that we just had, the 30th, 10 degrees of Taurus. So, you know, the major themes for all of us as a collective, Taurus, is about resources, finances, what we value, our values. And on the other side of the axis of Taurus, of the Taurus-Scorpio axis, is Scorpio, which rules over the 8th house and other people's resources. Also death, grief, taxes, inheritance. So we may see some shifts, and it's going to be a theme throughout the year for all of us. Okay, and you can check at 10 degrees Taurus in your chart to see how this is more specifically affecting you in what area of life. I'm also doing personalized chart readings for the eclipse for $44, oracle card readings for $22. And you can message me about that, comment, or hit me up in my Instagram DMs if you want one of those. So the first card that we got for the theme for May 2022 for our beautiful collective is the mouse. And so initially when this came forward, the message that was really coming through was that there's been a lot of perhaps, and I would love to hear if this reading resonates for you, perhaps some shyness and timidity around sharing maybe who you really are, sharing a gift. And there's almost this sense of just kind of making do. You've learned to make do with what you have, to kind of just live with what you have, to unfortunately maybe in some ways turn down this music a little bit, to limit what you believe. There's been a limit, there's been a ceiling around what you believe that you can have, what you can create, what you can accomplish. And you know, there's almost this energy that the mouse has of just kind of scrounging and just collecting and, you know, eating the leftovers, eating the bits. I actually have that mouse like that I can't get out of my house, living in my house right now, so this is really interesting this is coming up. Yeah, and there's almost like this nervous, fidgety energy too, this desire of wanting to put perhaps your energy into something and not really, maybe there's this, maybe you don't know what you want to put your energy into, or maybe there is something that you want to put your energy into, but you're letting all these other things get in the way, all these other details. Maybe you're doing a lot of, like, you have a project to finish, but you're doing the laundry instead, right? Or maybe the laundry is your project and you're doing something else to avoid the laundry. I do think it's more of like a big project. And I think maybe you're avoiding it. Maybe there's some avoidance because there's some imposter syndrome, and on some level, you're not really sure that you can do more, that you deserve more. But the Nightingale came in too to really encourage you singing your song, sharing your voice, you know, really spending time on this project, this passion, Okay. Yeah, you know, the nightingale has this real, like, truth energy, and it doesn't necessarily have to be everybody else's truth. You know, the mouse is kind of like eating people's leftovers, like, making do, living in this world and living in this energy and living in this maybe sometimes low vibration, like, well, this is what I deserve, this is all that there is for me, really limited. And the nightingale, you know, wants you to bring a voice to maybe these limitations. You know, maybe there is someone that you need to confront or address about these limitations. Maybe the person you need to confront or address about these limitations is yourself. But often it's, you know, the parents. Often it comes from our lineage, and that is a collective trauma that we all come into this world and this lifetime with, that now the music's too low, that we likely need to work through. Yeah. And you know, eclipse season really is about like rest and receiving, you know, self-care and taking care. We don't really want to do much, make too many big decisions or moves, because the eclipse is really kind of pushing that through for us. Okay, it's got a lot of powerful energy. That's why we typically don't burn, we don't do really ritual. You could do ritual that's like, you know, taking a bath or something, but we don't really put our crystals out under an eclipse just because the energy is so powerful. So really receiving support, I really feel this is coming through, and this is an ancestral card, so therefore an ancestral message. Your ancestors really want you to take care. They want me to pull a self-care card. It's a little early. I like to pull the self-care cards at the end, but they're saying now. So that's so funny. Yeah, I'm not going to show that card because it has to do with a ritual that I don't think, that is not good for the eclipse. But there's also this energy of release and letting go. This eclipse is more lined up with the North Node. I believe it's the May 15th one that we'll see more release. But what I'm hearing is like supporting yourself to prepare for whatever it is that you are seeing release, and kind of like getting into that energy of it's okay to see things release. It's okay to see things go, because it's just making space for new. Okay. Yeah, getting into this zone of reading for pleasure, like really allowing yourself to kind of go into a different world, if you find reading soothing. And again, I'm really hearing like reading for pleasure, because I saw this and I was like, oh, research, because that's my Gemini moon. And you know, that's fine too, but like giving your brain a break and allowing, you know, yourself to be imaginative and lose yourself in imagination is what I'm hearing from the ancestors. We'll come back to another self-care card later. I want to get into more happenings around this eclipse and what the ancestors have to say around. Yeah, we already saw the themes a little bit with the mouse and the nightingale, but I want to see what more specific happenings can this collective expect around this 10-degree partial solar eclipse in Taurus. So Queen of Water, tender-hearted, empathetic, patient, loving. Relationships develop to a new level. Trust your intuition. Care for yourself and others. So again, okay, I didn't feel this before with this card coming through. There may be some of you that are moving into a caretaker, caregiving role. But what the general message I feel like more strongly coming through is preparing. And it's not like, oh, we have to prepare for something scary, but it's just like the ancestors always recommend and suggest, they're saying living our life in a like constant flux of preparedness, but enjoying it. Not like preparedness, nervous energy, wanting to keep busy, but when you have something that you are preparing for, like building a family, maybe getting a greenhouse together for something for the future, for vegetables, that's going to be a resource that will supply you and your family and neighbors and community, whatever, for the future. Okay? And that's so great of an example because this is a solar eclipse in Taurus. So as a collective, we all are going to see lots of shifts likely to our values, resources, how we value food. And I do see us as a collective, and the ancestors see us moving much more, you know, toward reliance on local food and creating our own resources to share within a smaller community, as opposed to reliance on trucking foods in, you know, from a long distance. Not that we can't, and that's bad, but you know, that's just really Taurian energy, is to see a shift and change in agriculture and food, and there are other aspects that are going on to make that more specific. If you want like a video of someone else who gets more into it in detail, because I don't think I will, I likely won't. I'm not that much of a transits astrologer. I'm more of an ancestral astrologer. But anyway, if you comment below if you want me to give you a recommendation for a video that would go more into how this is affecting our resources. But I wanted to mention that because I think that's important. Going back to Queen of Water, so water is related to the cups in the tarot, which connect to the signs Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancers. So we may see ourselves developing new relationships with those signs. We may be, that may be one of our sun, moon, or risings, and those of us in this collective newsletter group who have lots of that energy in the chart may see some shifts in their relationships. And you know, the shifts that are going to come about will be most aligned if you are, you know, following your intuition as you make these changes. If you have a nagging thought or a voice, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to go in the other direction. Voice that to your partner, right? And when water comes up, it's usually this month may be really centered around May, our relationships. Okay, we will be moving into Gemini season in May, which is a lot about communication. So keeping open communication in those relationships and doing our best to not hold back on what we may feel is a nagging desire, a nagging thing, and not even nagging, but an important thing that we need to say. It becomes nagging when we don't voice it. You know, and doing any throat chakra practices if you feel like it's if you're thinking, oh gosh, like I can't speak up to people. Starting to think about what kind of support would allow you to do so, you know, because seeing a coach or a therapist, working on that throat chakra can be really helpful. Okay, so I'm hearing that we want one more tarot card before we move on to see two more, I guess. We also got Queen of Fire, confident, warm, intelligent, graceful, stretch your wings and fly, don't underestimate yourself, assert your independence and creativity. So that's really going back to the mouse. Don't underestimate yourself. Like, you have a lot that you know and you can do, and you don't need and deserve these like leftovers, and to play it small. And maybe this is like more of a direct come from the ancestors, because I don't know that I would speak this way, but like, you don't have to be so timid and shy and hold back. It's okay that you are, you know, and it's okay if you express, you know, you don't need me to tell you that, but the ancestors are validating that there are many great things about a shy, timid personality. But if this is like the overall general theme of your life and it's holding you back, you know, they're really encouraging you to stretch your wings and fly like the nightingale, sing your songs, speak your truth, okay? And there are ways that you can, you know, it doesn't have to be this big, huge thing, although eclipse kind of force that upon us. You can begin to take small steps to do so, right? Yeah. We also got strength, Archangel Ariel, great inner strength, release harsh judgments, forgiveness, and compassion. Okay, so having forgiveness and compassion for yourself of how maybe you have played it small in the past and how imposter syndrome has held you back, or you've just felt like it's okay taking like other people's crumbs and leftovers, or letting them, you know, treat you bad, or for not being focused and detailed on this passion project as much as you thought and believed that you should be, right? Okay, we also got Leo coming out, which is really interesting because we did just see something on Queen of Fire, which Leo is Leo's fire element, right? And fire is comparable to wands in the tarot, which is Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. So fire energy is all about stepping out and being yourself, asserting your independence and creativity. There was something that I almost said before this came up about it, and I kind of just shoot it away. Let me allow it to come back. Yeah, you know, stepping into, this is a collective reading, but I think it's a little more personal because Leo rules over the 5th house, which is stepping into your own personal creativity, as opposed to 11th house Aquarius, where, you know, it's kind of more collective. Okay, so remembering to spend time on those individual creative passions and pursuits, and we may see, you may feel a lot more like encouraged during the month of May to step out and shine, to stand out. You know, Leos often get, you know, flack for needing a lot of praise. Leo to me is like the kid, even though Aries is more like kid energy. Aries is more like, they don't know they need praise yet because they're just about themselves, right? The individual 1st house. They're a little maybe more, yeah, just involved, self-involved. And Leo, yes, is self-involved, another fire sign that's kind of really independent, but they have evolved enough through the deck where they do need that, they're kind of like that kid, look at me, you know, the look at me kid, which all kids are. Some need more praise than others, but we all need praise. So also opening yourself up to that, allowing yourself to need, you know, validation and praise, and maybe also checking in with yourself if you are like over reliant on other people's validation and praise, because even though it's healthy and normal to need it, there's a balance, right? Doing your passion projects and your creative projects for you. They're telling me to pick another ancestor card. All right. That's too many. I'm not gonna look. Just one, please. Okay. 2. All right. I heard that being argued. Taking time out during the month of May, during Gemini season. As it turns into Gemini season, there is going to be a lot more emphasis on communication and talking. And when we are using our throat chakra a lot, and when we are busy and messages are going back and forth, we can balance that out with the breath, with breath work. You might be inspired to take a breathwork course. Comment below if you want some recommendations. I went to one live one time. I don't know if they're doing that anymore. I would love to go again. It was amazing and so powerful and potent. Yeah, as we move into Gemini season, I mean, Taurus season too, but Gemini is more about like going places and taking trips. So I do feel like there's some adventure on the horizon for us, and we're being encouraged to, yeah, step out, explore, get in nature, get near water, and hearing that is very important for this particular group, to get out in nature, to be near water. And if you can't do that, I'm also hearing like bringing those things in whatever you feel like you need in your environment that you're not getting, you can always bring in, they say. Like if you're in too much dark, you can bring in red light therapy. If you're in too much light, you can get blackout curtains. They say these little things are really important to us, so I don't feel like they're little, but they also want us to know that we are infinitely supplied for. I had to pull this one because it was staring at me. We are infinitely supplied for all of our todays and tomorrows. Okay, so as these themes come up, because it is an eclipse in Taurus and it's Taurus season, and it will be throughout at least a little bit of May. You know, we're going to see themes around our resources and come out, and there may be some discomfort. There may be some shifts. But we're fully supported always. And the ancestors really want us to know that as we see these shifts, you know, of course it's okay to feel fear and to move through our fear. I'm surprised we didn't get the don't worry, but there's really this energy of please don't worry as you see things shift and change. They really feel like as a collective, even though there's been so much pain, that we're really moving in the right direction. And they want to validate that many of us can feel that really in our bones. Also, leap of faith, take a risk and put your heart's true desire into action. So yeah, really putting focus back into those passion projects seems to be a theme that is coming up too for them. Looking, I know I have another deck somewhere, maybe I'm sitting on it. Oh yeah, I wanted to do one of those. Here we go. Take a sip of tea. So anything that maybe you've been holding back on, that you've been thinking like, no, I can't do that, I shouldn't do that. Maybe not taking like, going back to what I said about eclipse season, like I don't think you're gonna have to take action, but when things pop up and it feels like a risk, to trust it is what's coming through, because you are infinitely supplied for. Yeah, I feel like many of us may feel like there's some loss going to be associated in the month of May, but there's so much gain. There's so much to be gained, they're saying. Kangaroo, gratitude, be grateful for all you are blessed with. They're really saying that like being focused on the present through eclipse season in the month of May, and just being very simplistic and feeling like you are resourced and you have enough with everything that you have, you know, because in a way it truly is enough. And really like getting into the, like our material possessions, and maybe even going through them and having a conversation with ourselves about why we have them and what they bring to our life, is feeling important. Okay, there's this huge emphasis that the ancestors want to make, like own and have and honor the things that you have. Okay, really honor them, really take care of them, value them, love them, and also know that they are just things. Lizard, dream time. Pay attention to your dreams and visions. I feel like it's not one specific ancestor, of course, but this collective of ancestors that are coming through have been trying to communicate with us through our dreams and visions. If you don't remember your dreams, asking your ancestors for help out loud before you go to sleep sometimes, getting crystals that support remembering dreams and putting them on your nightstand can be helpful, is what's coming through too. I want to pick another card. for the energy of May. So yeah, really taking it slow and easy. I'm gonna pull another self-care card. That's so great. Leo and the Sun coming up. So lots of like standing out energy, taking your rightful spotlight, right? Shifting from dark mouse energy to powerful mouse energy, who is not meek, who is not afraid of what they have to offer and afraid that they don't have anything to offer. Really taking up space in your industry. It's not egotistical of you to do it. You're not showing off, or you are showing off, and it's totally okay to show off. Tapping back into that idea of creative expression, since, you know, the Sun rules over Leo. I'm also hearing from the ancestors that this is messages are coming from the collective's father's lineage this time around. Yeah. And so, yeah, there's this real energy of taking the spotlight, of not being so worried that not being so worried, again, going back to imposter syndrome, and not being worried that there's not room for everybody else is doing what you're doing, or somebody else is doing what you're doing, and letting the jealousy, any jealousy that there is around that, really subside. Interesting that the 10th house came through. 10th house usually can be related to mother, but what I'm hearing is that this is not that. It's about our career, okay, and our passions, and possibly turning our creative passions into something that we can monetize. And this month may see significant changes to our career, okay, to our passions, to our careers. Yeah, and to our public image, okay? The 10th house also rules over our public image and how we are seen by others. So, being more seen, stepping out into that role of, you know, astrologer, entrepreneur, card reader, scientist, esthetician, massage therapist, acupuncturist, writer, director, artiste. Step into it, okay? I kind of want one more for how the end of May is going to leave us. 8 of Water, a desire to move on, the search for something more meaningful, spiritual and emotional growth. They are moving forward from these full cups. So I feel like by the end of May, we may see ourselves, this goes along with that energy, and I think it is eclipse energy. Like, we are moving on from something. Earlier I said, like, we're losing something, but it's not. That's the cycle of life, is to constantly move on. Some of us do it more than others. Some of us do it better than others. And that's okay. It would be less painful and more enjoyable for us if we could gather and learn resources that make it less so. So I'm feeling this energy of, like, yeah, you know, you've tapped into your material things. Like I said, you have sent them love, you have honored them, and you've also come to this piece of they are not you and you are not them. And it's not that I think we're going to be moving on from resources, maybe, but possibly moving on from relationships, from jobs, from homes, from neighborhoods, from ways of thinking. And this is really centered around not ways of thinking, because it's water, more like emotions than thoughts. That would be excuse me, that would be swords, that would be air, right? The air signs. This is more, again, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So we got water and we got fire. So I do really think that that's going to be the energy for May, is like taking action and putting energy into our passions and our goals, standing out, taking the spotlight with Leo and the sun here. But also balancing that with tapping into our emotions and making sure that our emotional well is full in order to do that. Because when we go out and just try to fulfill our passions with no support, as I look for the support card, one-handed, support, and caretaking. There it is. Then we'll burn out, right? If we just go into things like that. So as much it is like, yeah, you know, stepping out of that timidity, singing your truth and having a voice and monetizing things for your career and changing your public image by stepping out into, you know, the you that you are meant to be in the world. It's important to balance it by having good, you know, nervous system nourishment and resources for knowing that, you know, emotions are only temporary and how to move through them. You know, we might not get far with our passions if my bangs are just bugging me. We might not get far with our passions if we don't have that emotional support and nourishment. So that's what I feel like is coming through. Okay. And whatever shifts are like that are coming, and whatever change that is coming, May and around the eclipse seasons, feel like they're really gonna end like we are all in a different place emotionally, spiritually, and we're ready for something new. We're ready to begin something new, to move into something new and something more resonant. It says something more meaningful, something more valuable, something we value more, which makes so much sense. Okay, Taurus season rules over the second house and what we value. So yeah, there is, going back to this because it just feels like it needs to be said, there's not just like living small, but just living a life that's not meant for you and taking scraps and you know, you're done with that by the end of May. You're done with things that aren't as much in alignment and don't feel as powerful, you know. And we're all shifting into this time where, and we know life is so short, where, you know, really focusing and honing in on what it is that truly lights us up is really, man, it's the thing to do. It's just the thing to do. We're just moving into this. The ancestors say, like, every time we go against it, you know, that's like when the physical ills come up. And that's not like said to scare or said to say like, oh, it's your fault when you don't move where you need to move or do what you need to do, because they're understanding, the universe is understanding that we don't always know and we're not always tapped into our intuition. But the more that we can move toward who we truly are and what is truly meant for us, of course, two have to come out fine, then yeah, everything just flows and moves better. It's not like you're punished by something in your body. It's like your body giving you a message like, hey, this blockage or this digestive issue it's tied to something. So the ancestors wanted me to say that. That didn't feel like me. And it didn't feel like very well spoken. So sorry, but there was that connection they wanted to make. Sips tea. Okay, last two cards that are the Celtic. oracle deck. I have not memorized all these cards. That would be too in-depth, so I am going to read from the book, but sometimes I think that they add a little bit more flair. Okay, so we got the Gort Ivy, number 12, if that's any significance to you. It also has a relationship to the spider and the wolf. So lots of protective, ancestral, loving energy coming through, and also lots of creative energy that's coming through, which is really interesting because this is felt like, yeah, the ancestors are coming through strong, you know, asking you, reminding you to tap into your personal well of creativity, right? Yeah, this ivy often grows and spirals towards the light. It offers us a pattern to model for individuation and soul growth. That's so great because we just talked about soul growth with our 8 of Water cards, spiritual and emotional growth and soul growth. I think we saw soul growth somewhere else. And individual creativity, right? 5th house Leo stuff because Leo came up. Well, this is interesting. It is thought that there were once 13 astrological signs, that Virgo may originally have been divided into 2 signs, you'd think it was Gemini, one of which was named for Aranche and an aspect of the Great Mother, a spinner and creator of the physical world. So maybe that's like the spider thing. Ivy promises growth, resurrection, renewal, and wolf is our guide and protector as we move into our shadow to gain insight. Ivy promises triumph. Okay? I do really feel like, yeah, triumph for us by the end of May, and that might be like an inner, you know, spiritual triumph. Yeah, this is really like the answers lie within you energy and tapping into that creative and spiritual well within yourself, okay? And that may be expressed through art this month of May. We also got more of the C, 25. So if the number 25 resonates with you, or if you want to look it up, or if you've been seeing it lately, the totems are undines, water nymphs, and the fairies. Deities, mother goddess, moon goddess, and female ancestors. Very interesting that the 10th house mother thing was denied because now this keeps coming up, and I feel like it's the female lineages coming through saying, this isn't just the male lineage reading, like, we're here. More of the sea represents our maternal links, our yearning to travel, and the element of water. What did I say about traveling to water earlier? Maybe surrounding yourself with water. And remember, if that feels like not doable or it isn't, you're hearing me say this and you're like, don't remind me I can't travel or whatever. Bringing water to you, having baths, you know, creating as much as you can until you can get there, okay? I know it's not the same, but it can feel the same in the body, right? Somatically, it can feel the same, just like, you know, visualizing can do that for us, right? Yeah, the sea encourages us to take spiritual pilgrimages to learn about our roots and experience gratitude for them. Yeah, so visiting water seems important. It also seems like it's going to help us reconnect to mother energy, and I just realized that May is going to see us celebrating Mother's Day, which I know can be a sore subject for many of us. It's certainly not my favorite anymore. I will be offering not your typical Mother's Day readings again for anybody. Difficult relationship with your mother, great relationship with your mother, you are a mother, you want to gift it to your mother or a mother, so anybody can get a reading, and it'll center around the moon and what astrology has to say about your relationship to your mother figure, mother energy. Doesn't matter if you are adopted, didn't know your mother, all of that can still be figured out as long as you have your birth information. So yeah, I just felt like that needed to be said, and really powerful reading. I'm excited for us. Thank you for watching to the end. If you did, if you'd like to reach out for a personal ancestral reading, I do those for $222, and they are an hour and 15 minutes long. Very similar to what we did here, except we tap into a specific lineage, sometimes even ancestor of yours, and you can book those at the link in my bio on Instagram. Not here. I don't think I have it here. Can I add it here? Anyway, I'll try to figure that out. You can comment below if you would like one. And also that's in the newsletter. So anyway, happy May, and I'm excited for us. Thanks for being here. Okay, see you next month. Bye.